Here we have a unformatted text document, and I'm going to go through and show you guys how to properly format. So as you can see, all of the text is the same. There's no formatting whatsoever. All of it is completely unformatted. You might notice that I've put in these hashtags here, and that's just so that I can remember what goes where. This is a document about Batman, so that's going to be the title of the document. And in order to change whatever we've highlighted to mark it as a title, we just select this title button up here. And so once we do that, I'm going to go down to the next one, and this is going to be heading 1. And every time I format them, I'm going to take away the reference hashtags that I've made. This is going to be heading 2, and I'm going to go through the rest of the document and find those hashtags and format all the headings. One of the biggest benefits of using these titles and headings rather than just changing the font is that you can adapt it as you go. So here's another, this is going to be a heading 2, and delete those, find the next. But it allows you to mark these things, and then once we have them all marked, we can edit it one by one, and we get a lot of benefit from doing this. Rather than having to go through and edit each one, we instead can edit the type, and it will edit all of them for us. So I'm going to probably skip ahead and not have you guys watch me do all of this, but at the same time it's useful. So every time we make a heading, we're going to highlight it, click on the heading, and then delete these. Alright, now I've gone through and you can see all the different headings have been changed, and there are heading 1 like this, and heading 2, which are subheadings of heading 1. Now if I want to change the styles, all of the headings adjust with the new style. I can change the style to anything I want, and the text is also being adjusted because that is already marked as normal, as you can see right here. So I'm going to change the style to distinctive. There's the title, the heading 1, and heading 2. If we want to change all heading 1s so that they have red font instead of black, after we change the font to red, we can right click on heading and update heading 1 to match this selection. That did not do what I expected it to do. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And let's update heading 1 to match this selection. Yeah, all heading 1s are updated to match that. I wonder why this, yeah, there you go, characterization. This should be a heading 1. Okay. So I changed heading 1 style and I update it in the rest of the document. If I change heading 2 style, we'll see it happen again. So if we right click on it and we go to modify, that's probably why. So we can base it on the normal, but we can also change it around by using these font tools. So let's say I want it to be bold, and that seems good to me. Now all heading 2s will be updated to match that heading 2 selection that I just made. This allows you to really easily implement style changes in a document as long as you've marked them as heading 1 and 2 previously. Same thing with the body. The body of the text, so things that aren't heading are just called normal. And so if we wanted all of the text in the body to be updated, we could highlight it, modify normal, and change the font to something and change it to size 12. And now just one edit has made all of the normal font to be updated. If you just want to try a different style and not really worry about it, you can switch pretty easily in there. Another really useful tool is similar to PowerPoint. We can change the colors. So if you change it to you should see your guided exercise 1 color in here. The colors are across all of PowerPoint and Excel and Word. So I'm going to change it to my guided exercise 1 color, and it's going to update all of the things according to what the headings say. Again, if you want to change these colors on the headings, you can modify them and change them to whatever you want in here, and that'll update all the headings that are of that style. Now I'm going to change those back. Once we've gone through and have marked all the headings in the title, we can insert a table of contents, which, here we go. So if you go to the References tab and then you select Table of Contents, it's going to generate a table of contents based on the headings. So we'll go ahead and make the automatic table 1, and it'll just say contents at the top, and then it'll have each of the headings underneath each other like this. So it just automatically inserts, and it has the heading 1s followed by the heading 2s, and at the end it has all of the page numbers that these headings are on. This is a really easy way for a long document to just be easy to navigate. Notice also when I click on characterization, it takes me to that section. So if you're writing a really long document and you want to be able to navigate really easily and not have to look through so many things, let's say I want to go to the equipment section of characterization, I can just click on equipment. There we go. Now let's say I don't want to call this equipment, and I instead want to call it gadgets. If I scroll back up, it still says equipment, but we can click Update Table right up here, and it'll switch to gadgets because I updated that. So the table of contents will stay the same even when you update things until you click Update Table. Then it'll update and it'll be all back into what it should be. One other useful thing that I'll go over is inserting page breaks. This doesn't look very good because it's on a separate page, or it kind of divides the title. So if we want to insert a page break, so a page break starts the next page here. That way we can preserve some sort of formatting. It's really useful if you have, for instance, the title that you want at the very top of the page, but you still have more room on the previous page. Instead of putting in paragraphs, this is a way to guarantee that even if this grows, you're not going to lose your formatting. It's still going to insert it on the next page. I also want to show you how to effectively manage paragraph styles. So these are all paragraphs. And if we go back to the home tag, this is where the controls will be. So right now, all of the paragraphs are single space. If you want to make the entire document double spaced or the entire body of text double spaced, what we can do is highlight a sample or paragraph, click on double space for that paragraph, and then right click on normal and update normal to match selection. That'll double space all of the text in it except for the section headings, like here and up here is a good example. This block of text here is a quote from Deakyne, so we want to format it so that it's obviously a quote. The first thing we're going to do is single space it, and then we're going to indent this whole thing so that it is set apart from the rest of the document and it's obvious that it's a quote. The way we do that is by this right here. If you're not seeing a ruler at the top, you're going to have to go into View and right click Ruler. So if you don't see the ruler like this, you have to click on View and then go to Ruler. And then we can go back to Home. If we want to indent everything, we select the bottom and we drag it. And that'll indent everything that's highlighted and it won't go past here, wherever you set this. For whatever reason, if we want to indent the first line a little bit more, then we can use this top section and that'll indent the first line. And when we use the left indent, it'll move the first line along with it. Typically though, when we do indenting, they're going to be on the same length, so you can just indent it and it'll affect that paragraph. I'm going to go ahead and set everything back to 1.5 font, 1.5 spacing. And remember, we do that by right clicking on this option and updating normal to match this selection. So when we update normal like that, it takes away any of the indentation that we've done. Sometimes it might be easier if you have a lot of quotes and you don't want to lose all that formatting, to format them as quotes. And to make all of your quotes indented, you would indent this selection, then right click on quote and update quote to match selection. That way, let's say we mark this as normal, it'll go back, and then if we mark it as a quote again, we can make it go right back to where it was. Now that we have updated this quote and marked it as a quote, even though we update the normal, let's say we update the normal to a different font, so we change this font to Helvetica, and we update normal to match selection, that actually did affect the quote, and the reason it did is because the quote is based on normal. So the font is going to follow normal, it's just going to make it italic and it's going to have the left indent. But it remains italic and it remains indented. If we want it to make it so that it wouldn't update, we could change the quote so that it's not based on normal, it's based on no style. And then when we update normal, now when we update normal to this gross font, it won't affect the quote, because we have gone into quote and we've removed that it's based on normal. I'm going to go ahead and change that back. So now it is based on normal. So when we update normal, it will update the quote as far as font goes. Another thing you might notice is that even though this is all single spaced or 1.5 spaced, there's still a gap here between paragraphs. You can change that by clicking on this and removing the space after paragraphs. This will just update the whatever it is, but again, if we select the font and we go to the normal, we can right click and update normal to match selection. And now we have no paragraph after each space, so you can control it and add paragraphs. Typically though, it's better to use this tool, because then you can update the entire document to match one paragraph that you format. And that's useful when you have all of these paragraphs and you don't really want to mess with the documentation on each of them. In review, the table of contents is going to be arranged based on the headings that you've inserted. So heading 1 will be at the top, heading 2 will be under that, and then heading 3 will be under that, but we don't have any heading 3s. It'll automatically put in page numbers. If you change any of the headings like we did for gadgets, it will not update until you click update table. And another review thing is that if we want to update things, we just have to highlight and then we can right click and update normal to match selection. That's a good way to update headings to match selection. And anything, quotes are a good use. There's intense, emphasis, there's a lot of different ones here. And that's a brief introduction to how to format long text effectively using headings, table of contents, and styles. Alright guys, I think that's all I got. Make sure you play around with styles, table of contents, and formatting. And that will prepare you for the guided exercise number 2.